whole kind of argument being made is that the player base has gotten, at least part of the player base has gotten so unbelievably good at this game, and they've kind of practiced it down to the like all the nuances mastered, all the not mastered obviously, but all the nuances incredibly developed. The techniques are very refined. People know how to build. They know how to build certain kinds of things, and they practice that for hours. Some people. How does because I know one of the big things that Epic has always stressed is making sure that it's a welcoming casual experience, right? Getting that first win is a huge thing. How do they continue to allow people to do that? Like, how does somebody who's just starting to play Fortnite tomorrow or tonight, who's maybe not the best video game, like they're not some uber talented, video game player, right? How does that person get their first win in today's current climate?
Yeah, so let me preface this by saying that this is a thing in BRs, right? That people, especially developers, will think very hard about because, again, we're still, even though we think the game is very difficult now for lots of people, and that is a very true factual statement. Um, but it's still a very small percentage of that population who is doing that well and who is literally making it so impossible for somebody who comes home, plays after work maybe once a week or something like that. Um, it's still a small percentage, maybe 1%, 2%, but
Yeah.
that means that if there's an open matchmaking system, 2 out of 100 of those players will stomp everybody in the server, right? So
Hmm.
that's where the thing, or you really need a scale where everybody within probably 99.99% are probably going to be okay against each other, right? They're in a skill gap that is small enough that everybody can win against each other. And then the rest of those people, then it becomes comfortable, but then it becomes welcoming. And then the other thing though is like this is something that happens in every single game, and that's why I'm happy with the focus that Epic has right now on competitive and the fact that they are working on this ranked matchmaking system. What I think they need to do to solve this issue is not try to balance the game around making it easy for people to win that won't necessarily always get wins and aren't even skilled enough to get wins, but
Right.
just push the ranked matchmaking system. If you play open right now, you will literally be fine. You're playing against the worst players possible, the people who have the least experience playing the game, and it's fantastic. It's a great experience for somebody who's new,
Yep.
because there's and so like they need to have matchmaking at this point. If they don't, then they are literally just perpetuating this issue because again, the game as it goes progresses. We're now 2 years in, right, or close to 2 years, and
Yeah. About
this
that.
makes it impossible for anybody who's just joining the game to do anything. And that's we saw this in Counter-Strike, we saw this in Halo, we saw this in literally any game that is online
Hmm.
ever, right? The game will just get harder as time goes on. So they need to address that and not in a way that frustrates the people who are getting better because they're sinking their time and effort into this game and to make it so that they get punished because they're good just is a very frustrating thing. And so they need to push arena mode. Basically, they just need to make arena mode the main thing that people should play when coming into the game.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it'd be easy enough to do that in terms of, you get extra experience for playing arena mode, extra battle pass stars, right? That kind of the casual player doesn't necessarily care about getting better, but is super into all the
Yep.
cosmetics and all the dances. Like you can easily throw rewards like that around for just playing and participating in the arena mode. The other thing that I think is,
Challenges, anything. Like literally there's
yes.
so much opportunity there to make that relevant. And there's also a thing where people will uh they're just gonna have more fun. They're just gonna have a better time playing arena mode or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And if they want to keep the wacky kind of pool of items in the normal mode, I think, something that it doesn't get discussed too much, but at least, some of the games that I'm more familiar with, I know that even in the social modes, they have like an invisible ranking where they kind of track like,
Yep.
so I'm most familiar with Halo, so they would track like stuff like your headshots, your accuracy with your guns, your kill to death ratio. Like they would track all these things and go, okay, you might be wanting to play casually in terms of you might not be wanting to play a serious sweaty game where everybody's trying their hardest, but we're still not going to put you against somebody who just is installing Halo yesterday. Like there's
Yep.
clearly a skill gap there, and it won't be fun for them, and it probably won't even be fun for you because the person's not going to provide any challenge. So to kind of like take some sort of a matchmaking And I don't think it should be the same one that they use, because in arena mode, it's very much like performance driven. How many kills did you get?
Yep.
What's your placing, right? That's all that matters. I
Yep.
think there's an opportunity for them to use some more advanced analytics to kind of try and put players together that are of, some similar skill level. Like how many, what's your average like number of builds in a game or per 1 minute, right? Like if you were to
Yeah.
calculate that, if somebody has like, something like 50 or 60 builds or 70 builds in a minute, that person probably should not be playing somebody who averages 5 builds per minute, right? Over the course of 100 minutes played or something like that.
Yeah, I have to imagine that that is in the works, right? Because I can't see a system of arena that stays forever on a point-based matchmaking system that is based on a format that really doesn't even incentivize winning the most, right? So
Mhm.
I can't imagine that that is not a thing. But you have to think about how difficult most
Oh,
normal elo systems are to implement in Fortnite, right? Because it's 100 players, it's not head to head. It's so
right.
much more difficult to say he just died to somebody who is way less than elo than him. What should happen to him? Right? What was, because there's so much more context behind that. So it's a very
Yes.
difficult issue. Um, but I do have to say, like, I do want to bring up the example of League of Legends because they have done such a fantastic job moving the casual scene into possibly even into the competitive scene, or at least to some level where they're like interested in
Hmm.
playing competitively or watching competitively. And now the ecosystem for them is so good, right? Because they play in the casual mode or in unranked essentially until level 30, and then they can decide, oh, do I actually want to do this? Now I've unlocked this really competitive mode. The same thing could happen in arena, right? You could have open league up to champs league. Now boom, champs league is unlocked. Now it's really ranked. Now we have these serious systems of format, right, where we actually are playing based on kills, based on getting different placements, all that stuff. Now it's scrim like.